Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be looking at Malamar Double Steel as a bit of an anti-meta team for the Psychic Cup. I think this team is actually very strong and it did end up doing very well for me. I went 11-4 with it because you have one of the best counters to Bruxish, or actually the best counter to Bruxish in the Malamar in the lead. You have one of the best answers to the most common save swap, Galar Rapidash, in Metagross in the back, which is going to be very useful for you. But also you're countering the Bruxish double fairy. You have a Malamar, which is one of the best Pokemon in the meta, with 2 steals in the back to handle the fairy types that Malamar is weak to. You can use Bronzong to lure out Bruxish, Claydol, or Victini, so Metagross is going to have a lot more play in the deck. I think overall this team is actually very good. This team can struggle a little bit against Victini or Malamar, but you can definitely beat them if you play it a little bit tricky, and I'm going to show you some examples of how. Well, first game, we lead into a Bronzong, amazing lead for Malamar. They swap into a Galarian Rapidash, and we swap into a Metagross. This is a bit awkward. Like, this is why a Galarian Rapidash is such a good save swap, because it can just have play against everything, because it can have something like a high horsepower, which Metagross just has to shield. But at this point, it's only a body slam. It takes 7 for the first 2 high horsepowers and 6 for the third one. So I can just no shield the second one, come out with a bunch of energy. Bring back in the Bronzong. I go for the Earthquake. I think I can get to 2. They shield the first one. Can we get to the second? We just about can't. We have to settle for the Medium Ash. Have they been counting properly? Will they shield it? They do not. But we still get a bit of a HP off of that Bronzong, which is pretty good. They have a lot of energy though, but Malamar can tank anything from Bronzong pretty comfortably, so this should be okay. It's a payback, we tank it, and they bring in a Bruxish, and this is where we want to see it. This is very nice, because Metagross or Bronzong really does not want to see this. Or like, not really, but it's good that we see it on Malamar. Now we can get off a foul play, and this does so much damage. Boom! Bring in the Bronzong, and the Bronzong just doesn't have enough energy to get the 2 moves on my one. So I should be able to just feint attack it all the way down. And that's a good game. Again, Metagross in the back is just so good because you get to counter swap it onto that Galarian Rapidash so often. Next game we lead into a Bruxish, and wouldn't you know it, there is another Galarian Rapidash. But this one decides to bait, and it only takes 10 Fairy Winds to get to a Body Slam and a Mega Horn. So I have to throw pretty much immediately, because Metagross actually loses CMP here, which is so crazy. They both have such high attack stats. And now I have to shield again, because I really want to keep alignment. Because I want my Malamar and that Bruxish, and I'm also expecting there to be a Shadow Gardevoir in the back. Because that's a team I've been seeing so much. They bring back in the Bruxish, but we have enough HP and energy to get to an Earthquake, which would take out the Bruxish at this point. Bruxish is also so frail. So we actually grab the second shield, and now we can bring our Malamar onto the Bruxish, and they bring in a Gardevoir. This is pretty good, but I end up making a huge misplay. I like to use GPL as a practice, like just to practice. So I like to overfarm to the max, like all the time, even though it's not necessary. So I allow them to get to a Shadow Ball because I overfarm too much, and it's just so silly. I could have just thrown the Heavy Slam. It's so bad. But we bring in the Malamar, we take out the Gardevoir, the Charms did so much, and the Bruxish is gonna get to a move. Is this enough? Can we get to a foul play? It's just an Aqua Tail. And we get to a foul play. I almost threw this game. This team is specifically created to beat that team, and I almost lost it anyways. But yeah, I'm not gonna make that many misplays in the next couple of games, I promise. Next game, we lead into Galarian Rapidash, swap in Bronzong, and they swap out a Bruxish, which is nice that we lure this out so Metagross doesn't have to see it. I go for the Heavy Slam because this is just always gonna shield. It has to. And they get to farm us all the way down. We just about don't get to a Heavy Slam number 2. So now this has a lot of energy. Bring in the Malamar. But Metagross up a shield might be able to sweep whatever is in the back. They get off the Psychic Fangs, and they get to another move. This is gonna hurt so much when I'm defense debuffed. And I actually have Crunch, which hurts even more. They bring in the Galarian Rapidash again, and they're staying in against my Metagross. Don't they have a response? I shield last second and it's a high horsepower. Good shield. And they just quit. So no, they did not have a response. They were just core broken by Metagross. Awesome. Next game we lead into Victini. And here I'm gonna show you how not to play against the Victini in the lead. I go for the foul play. You should really try to land a foul play after they've thrown their first V-create, so they're defense debuffed, because one foul play is not enough. And you can also definitely let the first one go, which is how I would suggest you play it. Because now I have to shield twice, and we get to our moves at the same time. They do shield again, but at this point, a V-create, it does about 56%, so it might be enough to take me out, and it just about does. So now I have to bring in my Bronze Song, and they're gonna get to another V-create. They still have so much HP, I just have to shield it, because I only have Steel types in the back. And then they bring in a Bruxish, meaning I have to stay in, but I only got in one feint attack. So we're gonna CMP. It takes 18 turns of the Bruxish to get to a move. So we CMP tie. My only win con is I have to get to an Earthquake onto that Victini. So I have to undercharge this and then come in, farm down the Bruxish. Because if I come in dry with my Metagross against the Victini, I'm just not going to get to a move. The Victini is just going to take me out and I'm going to lose. So now I can go up, throw 5 more bullet punches to CMP tie the Victini. It takes 5 for every V-create and Metagross wins CMP. And now, are they weak? They are. Can we get to a Meteor Mash? We just about can't get to the Meteor Mash onto the Gardevoir, and it takes us out. That game was definitely winnable, but I misplayed it. I'm gonna play the Victini match better in later games, and I'm gonna show you how to play it properly. Next game, we lead into Malamar. If you wanna win this lead, you are gonna have to land either a Hyper Beam or back-to-back Superpower at the end of it. But I don't really want to win this lead. I play this kind of tricky. I have 2 ways of playing it. You're going to see the first one in this game. I go up, I throw another foul play, and it's 2 Psycho Cuts away from a foul play now. And because it's not the best Malamar, I think I can feint attack it down, and I can, just about. And now we lure out the Metagross counter, which they don't have, but theoretically this was to lure out the Metagross counter, save a bit of energy on Malamar, so it might be able to get to a move later on. We go for the bait because it has to shield. Payback would knock it out. So, and then I'm making a bit of a misplay here. My Bronzong reduces like every single CMP, as you can see from the IVs on the left. So I should have just let them throw this, hope that they baited, and then gotten up to a payback. But at this point, they can just let this go. And because they have a little bit more HP than me, they can come out with enough energy to have a move ready, which is not ideal. So I want them to throw it into my Malamar, but they don't throw it, they swap out instead. So I save a foul play on my Malamar. Huge detail. They swap in Galarian Rapidash. I can just double shield this. If I grab the shield, which I will do, if they want to get off their second move at least, my Malamar is just going to be able to take out the Bronzong in the back because I already have that foul play loaded. So I can just double shield this just to make sure I take out the Rapidash because I know I'm going to win CMP in the back and be able to take out the Bronzong. The Bronzong gets to a payback, and this does so much damage. It actually takes out my Metagross, but as I said, I have the foul play loaded, so I can just take out the Bronzong with 5 HP or something. Easy game, never in doubt. Next game, we lead into another Victini, and I think I play this better, but my opponent also plays this quite well. Victini is so tricky to play against. It takes 5 for every move for both of us, or for V-create and foul play. So I go up to back because I think he might want to throw on back, and I want to CMP tie him so he debuffs himself before I throw it. But he lets it go, and now he's on 6 quick attacks, so I go for another foul play. He has to shield it. I try to see if I can Psycho Cut him down, realize I can't, so I bring in my Bronzong because I don't want to get farmed down myself. I have to shield this, and then they bring in a Malamar. The Victini is not going to get to another move, so I just have to make sure that it can't catch anything. That's my only worry with the Victini. As I said, Malamar, it takes 5 for every foul play, so I go up to right before they get to the next one. Go for the payback. It is more energy efficient. But they shielded, and now they're gonna be able to overfarm a lot, which is not nice. I think they went up to like 11 cycle cuts, so they're on 6 now. I want them to throw some energy into my Malamar. They can't cycle cut down a Malamar because it's like triple resisted. And they go up and CMP Tiny. Perfect energy management by my opponent. So they're at 4 cycle cuts now. Meaning they're going to get to a move on my Metagross. They're back to back now. I shield the first one, so now they have to throw the second one, and I get in another fast move. If they have like a Gardevoir or a Rapidash in the back, I might be able to win this. But it's a Bruxish. That's just not gonna happen. I don't think that game was very winnable. That was very tough. Next game we lead into Galar Rapidash, save swap Bronzong immediately. And they're staying in. So they're probably weak to steel, but that just means I'm gonna want to sweep with the Metagross. They go for a high horsepower. Yikes. And then they bring in Malamar. I go up to 1 before they get to their foul play. Throw my Heavy Slam. They no shield it. Maybe I should have gone for the payback. They overfarm quite a lot. But again, I'm thinking they're probably gonna be weak to steel. So I want to see if I can maybe grab a shield here. I don't think they're gonna shield if I just throw my move on this Malamar. But I think they're gonna want to shield the Galarian Rapidash because a foul play still does so much damage to it, and they still have 2 shields. So if I overfarm, let them get to another foul play and just overfarm as much as I can to right before they get to the next foul play. I think I can get a shield by throwing this foul play, and then I can get a shield advantage for my Metagross. Because this still does a lot of damage to a Galarian Rapidash. It's very squishy, the Rapidash. So I swap in my Metagross after grabbing a shield. They stay in for a while, which is huge. Massive misplay by my opponent. This means I can get to 2 Earthquakes before they get to 3 V-Creates, meaning I don't have to bait. So I just go straight for it, and it lands. And they concede the game. Very nice. Next game, we lead into another Galarian Rapidash. I was expecting people to run this as a safe swap, but apparently people are also running it as a lead. We swap in Bronzong, and we lure out the Claydol, which is a bad matchup for Bronzong, but it's a good thing that our Metagross doesn't have to see it. Go for the Heavy Slam, because a payback would have knocked them out, so they're just going to shield this 99.9% of the time. They go for a move. They overfarm quite a bit. And they take us out. We have a shield advantage. Bring in Malamar. We get to a move. I thought that they got to a move, but I'm not sure if they just decided not to throw it or if they just didn't get to a move. I think they got to a move. I should have probably waited out my switch timer, because at this point I have to throw a move just to get it up, and now they have a lot more energy, which is not ideal. Bring in Metagross. They bring in Bruxish. But I forced the shield with my Earthquake, because if they no shield this, I'm going to be able to farm them down with Metagross, like the Rapidash. So they have to shield, but they don't. So now I'm just going to be able to farm them down. If they didn't shield, or if they did shield, I would have been able to just farm up to 2 foul plays. So I would have won anyways, but yeah, pretty nice. Next game, we lead into another Malamar. And I really, really like the way that I play this. I don't try to win the lead. As I say, if you want to win the lead, you're going to either throw a Hyper Beam or go for back-to-back superpowers at the end, at least in the Zero Shields. But I would rather, because I figured something out about the Bronzong Victini matchup, which I'm going to show you here. They go for, I think they go for the back-to-back superpower here. They do. If you throw superpower, it's 5-4, so you outpace to get to them before you get to foul plays. But now I'm getting in 3 feint attacks worth of energy. And they bring in Victini, of course, because it's good against Bronzong. I go for the bait here, because Victini is just, it has to shield, because the payback would KO. So we grab the shield. And now because I got in those feint attacks, I'm going to be able to get to 2 Heavy Slams before they get to 3 V-Creates. They actually go for a Psychic. It takes 7 quick attacks for the Psychic. And now we CMP tie. I shield because now I force the last shield too. if they want to keep their Victini alive and get off their last V-Create, which they do. They just about get to it, but now Bronzong has actually put, if you get 2 feint attacks, Bronzong can put Victini into a range where Metagross can handle it. And now they have a Galar Rapidash in the back that Metagross is very good against. So GG. Next game, we lead into another Malamar, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. We're gonna try it again. And this is probably an even better showcase of that strategy working. They go for the Hyper Beam, which is, as I say, a way for you to win, because you get to a Hyper Beam and a foul play before you get to 3 foul plays, and 2 foul plays is not enough. So they are gonna win the lead, but that's fine by me. I just want some energy on my Bronzong. They overfarm a little bit, but they're still at a range where I'm gonna get, you only need 2 feint attacks worth of energy on Bronzong in order to CMP tie, because it takes 9 feint attacks to get to the first heavy slam and 8 for the second one. So again, I go up and I bait them because they're always gonna shield this. And as you're gonna see, they go for the first V-Create. And now we're gonna get they're gonna get back-to-back V-Create on the same time as I'm gonna get to my heavy slam. So they go up to back, and I let them CMP time me. I shield. And now I force them to shield if they want to get to another move as well. They do have it. But now again, they're gonna have to throw their energy, which for some reason they don't. And then it's in a ideally in a spot where Metagross can handle it. They bring in Bronzong. I don't know what they're doing, why they're not throwing any of their moves, but yeah, we get to the Earthquake. Metagross and Bronzong get to Payback and Earthquake at the same time, so they should have outpaced me because I spent 1 turn swapping, but I'm not sure. Next game, we lead into another Malamar lead. And once again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Go up to the foul play. And my Malamar is just losing all the CMPs in the mirrors, because, yeah, I have a very good one. Let's go for another foul play. I think I wanted to throw it before they got up to a Hyper Beam, because I knew I was going to lose CMP. But again, they go for the Hyper Beam, they take us out, we get in 2 feint attacks, they bring in Victini. I wasn't aware that these 3 games were in a row, but it's a pretty good matchup to have nailed down. This one, go for the bait once again, because they always shield. They throw 1 V-Create, and we're gonna CMP them when they get to back, because we got those 2 feint attacks. We get off 2 at the same time as they get 2. I shield it. If they want to get off their third one, they're gonna have to shield, otherwise they're gonna leave me with a lot of HP. But if they go for the shield and the V-Create, they're gonna be in a spot where my Metagross can handle it, and they usually have something in the back that Metagross is good against. They take out Bronzong, swap in Galarian Slowbro. It takes 11 poison jabs to get to a Focus Blast for Galarian Slowbro, so I will outpace to the Earthquake. So we take it out with the Earthquake, boom, and now we can farm down the Victini. I wasn't sure if Meteor Mash was enough, so I'm just gonna show you. This is the most important thing. If you want to get better at this game, if you have a question, find the answer immediately. I wasn't sure if a Meteor Mash would be enough to take out the Slowbro, so I found out the answer. And it does 66.2% to a default anyway, so it would have been enough. It's good to know for late, like for other games if you face it again and they have a bit of energy. Next game, we lead into a Galarian Slowking, and they swap in a Wobbuffet, a Charm Wobbuffet. Very cool spice. I should have just swapped in my Bronzong immediately because it's such a good response to Wobbuffet, especially when you have Feint Attack. As in, this is such a hard wall that my main objective is to get out of this matchup with as much energy as possible. Because as you can see, the Wobbuffet just does no damage, which is why I go for the neutral Heavy Slam instead of the super effective Payback, so I can get even more farm on my Bronzong. And they don't even get to another return at this point, which is amazing. So now we can just go for the payback on this Galarian Slowking. Slowking is so slow. It takes 5 hexes to get to like any move. 6 for the Sludge Wave. So we can just go for the payback, farm them down, and they bring in their second Charmer. We get to 1 Heavy Slam. We get to another one as well, I think. Yes. And at this point I'm thinking, oh, can we get to a beam on Malamar? I know this game is already won, so I want to try and see if we can get to the beam. But the charms just do too much, so we have to settle for the focus, or for the foul play on Malamar instead. That's a shame. But we take out the double charmer team. Amazing. And this was the last game. I did end up going 11-4. As you can see, I finished off with a 5-0. I made a few misplays in the beginning, and towards the end, it went a lot better. Finished off on 26-49 elo. So I think this team is actually very, very strong. That was the last battle, and overall, I feel like this team just really surprised me in a very positive way, going 11-4 without any of the top 3 in the meta, which I think are definitely by far the best Pokemon in this meta. Very surprising to me. I did try to make a team that was a little bit differently from what you've seen from by all the other YouTubers, and I hope you appreciate that, so you're not watching the same content over and over again. Other than that, fun fact of the day, a good Metagross can live a Mega Horn comfortably from a Galarian Rapidash. Mine is not very good, as you saw it hit 1484, so it wasn't really all that comfortable. You're still gonna get one shot by a high horsepower, but you don't see those as often. If you do, of course, you still have to shield. But you can consider not shielding the first move from Galarian Rapidash if you have a good Metagross. Other than that, thank you for watching. If you like what you see, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I have so much more content coming up about this meta, and hope to see you next time.